your patience. Being that we're in the house of God, you know we all need lots of patience. All right, so we're happy that you're here. My name is Jaha Howard. I'm a deacon here at Renaissance Church of Christ. Happy to welcome you along with David Bishop, who is one of our elders. So happy to have you. Just a little bit about this congregation. We've been in the West End area for over 100 years under the name West End Church of Christ. And we've recently moved here and now called Renaissance Church of Christ. And we've been here since about March of this year. So we're happy that you're here. Many of you, I know it's your first time in this particular building. We hope to have you again really soon. Just so you know a little bit about this place, it's not really about the building, it's about the people. We're folks who love God and we love people. And we all got lots of issues. We're church folks with problems. And that's why we come here, because we need help and we need guidance. So if you fall in that category where you love God, you love people, and you got issues, this is a home for you. So we're happy that you're here. Again, some housekeeping items. The restrooms are going to be to your right, my left. So you can go out of those side doors there and make a right, or you can get there by going through the foyer and making a left. So back toward that corner, that's where the restrooms are. Also, we ask that there's no eating and drinking, unless you have water here as a candidate. No eating and drinking in the sanctuary. We do appreciate that, very much so. So enough of that, and let's get to the stuff that you want to get to. I'm happy to have Carlise Greer here, who is president of the League of Women Voter Atlanta Fulton chapter. And I want to say a quick shout out to the League of Women Voters. As a former candidate up in the Cobb and Fulton area for state senate, I remember one of the most fair, most trustworthy organizations was the League of Women Voters. And in this day of political climate where everyone is running to political extremes, this organization has shown integrity. And I appreciate that, and I know everyone I know appreciates you as well. So I'm happy at this point to be on the Cobb County School Board, so newly elected, but I worship here. Grew up Mays High School, so any Mays Raiders? Okay, got a couple. Happy that you're here. So, but thank you again, Carlise, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Even though you went to Mays and I'm an Astro, we're still friends.
Thank you, Carlise. Y'all give her a hand. Y'all give her a hand. Thank you so much. Douglas, Astros. I bet you say Douglas now, don't you? You know it's Doug. All right, so.
It's all good. Thank you. Welcome. How's everyone this evening?
Great. How are you?
We are so happy to have you here. I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the League. The League is going into its 100th year of existence. The League of Women Voters Atlanta Fulton County is actually the oldest league in the country, even predating the National League. And we were founded to ensure that once women got the right to vote, that they were educated about issues on the ballot and issues of concern, and to help to involve them in the political process. And we still exist to do that today, though, for everyone. So men and women, everyone is invited to be a member of the League. We do have a table out front, and I invite you to visit it. Just a few things. Early voting began today, and so we encourage people, do not wait to Election Day to go vote. Your vote will be counted. Go vote early. Early voting ends September 13th. And make sure that, if you wait to the last minute, if there is a problem with someone has a question about your residency or your signature, if you vote early, you have a chance to correct those things. If you wait till Election Day, if the lines are long, if something happens, people sometimes want to vote, but get discouraged by those setbacks. So please, we encourage you to go and vote early. Today is a special day for a couple reasons. In addition to our forum, it is Women's Equality Day, and this is actually the day 99 years ago that the 19th Amendment was certified, the results for the adoption of the 19th Amendment, that women gained the right to vote. And so it is a special day, and we are thrilled to host this forum on this day. Finally, I want to thank our partners, Delta Sigma Theta Atlanta Suburban chapter. Thank you for partnering with us. The NAACP Atlanta branch. And of course, the Renaissance Renaissance Church of Christ, and I would be remiss if I did not thank the League of Women Voters board members who are here this evening also working this event. And so with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Richard Rose from the NAACP and just say thank you and welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We just left the 110th NAACP convention in Detroit, and we left there with a new chant that says, when we fight, we win.
Well,
And so Atlanta added, when we vote, we count. And that's what we'll be pushing from now forever. We want to focus, our campaign is going to be focusing at younger people. But all of these races make a difference.
That's right.
How many know that the Boston Tea Party was not about tea? It was about who controls the political process and who controls the revenues associated therewith. So we're happy always to participate in a voting effort. NAACP is nonpartisan, but we want everybody to vote, everybody to come out and exercise your right as a citizen to have a stake and a say in who represents you. If the politician who represents you doesn't represent you, then they should represent you, and you can change that. So if you're not a member of the NAACP, I urge you to join us. We need to support. We get over 1,000 emails and calls a month. Our service area is Fulton County, but we get them from everywhere. You see us on the internet, Facebook, Google, whatever, and then they figure we can fix it. We can't fix it all, but we do the best we can. But I want to thank you for coming out, thank these candidates for offering themselves, because service is a sacrifice. This is not easy, and each of them have made a commitment to represent you in a very important position, this commission seat. We know it as the Emma Donnell seat. She represented it strongly and in a committed fashion for a long time. And we appreciate that. Now, this is the next Emma Donnell that you're going to be represented, elected with these. So pay attention, ask questions, and hold them accountable once whoever gets elected. All of them, hold them accountable. It is your right, it is your duty, it is your responsibility. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Kimberly King, and I'm actually with all three organizations. I'm a part of the NAACP, the League of Women Voters, I'm on the board, and a part of the Atlanta Suburban Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta. So, hey, check. All right. But thank you so much for joining us this evening. I wanted to have a couple of housekeeping things I want to go over, and then I want to do a couple of quick intros of the superstars in front of me and beside me, because I do think they're all superstars. That's just my own personal opinion. So, having said it on a bunch of these, but just a couple of forum rules for the candidates. Candidates are to remain seated at all times. Okay, all right. The candidates will not interrupt each other. Okay. The candidates should direct their responses to the moderators and not to other candidates. If we need to do a redirect, they'll handle that for you. The candidates should limit their responses to the questions asked and refrain from personal comparisons to the other candidate. And the audience, we actually were live streaming. We're just asking you to refrain from loud applause and making other noises until the conclusion of the forum. And then we'll ask you for big applause. So if you want to do one test now, can I hear you clap loudly one time just to make sure you can do it? So that was a perfect test run. 2, that the pop quiz you passed. So when we come back to that at the end of the forum, we'll come back to it again. So we're all good on the rules?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, well with that I had the distinct honor of also introducing our superstar moderators. Who in the audience has a TV? I hope everybody has a TV, okay. A car or a radio? Okay, so, you have if you have a TV, a car, radio, unless you live in a cave, quite frankly, you know the two journalistic superstars that we have as our moderators. This first, it gives me great pleasure. I'll introduce them in alphabetical order. Great pleasure to introduce Maria Boynton, Public Affairs Director for Intercom Radio, which is also B103 and WAOK. Want to stand up? When you listen to the news in the morning on those stations, this is the lovely lady that's bringing it to you, and she does so many awesome, great interviews. And also Keisha Lancelin, Public Affairs Director for Channel 69, Focus Atlanta. And I'm excited to share things with both of them. You know, my sorority sister and my Atlanta sister. We're both from Atlanta, so love them both. So just wanted to put that in there. But with that, without further ado, we will. Oh, so sorry. And to the candidates, one important rule. Karen here is our timekeeper. So we know how this works. If she gives you the signal, please prepare to wrap up your comments. And that says what? 30 seconds. And stop. Okay. All right. Well, with that, we will let the forum begin. I'm turning over to our distinguished moderators. Oh, didn't introduce the candidates. Sorry about that. Okay. So let me introduce the candidates that are here. Okay. So Yoshina Bradford. I think we'll stand. You standing there? Sonia Francis-Rolle. Dr. Sonia Francis-Rolle. Thank you very much. Okay. Rafer Johnson. Sojourner Marable Grimmett. And Gordon Joyner. Apologies for forgetting that. With that, I'll turn it back over to our moderators, and we'll get ready for an exciting forum.
Good evening to each and every one of you. We're going to have a great evening. Yes, we are. We will begin our questions this evening. We feel that we've been thorough, and we have quite a few questions, and we ask that you be honest in your answers, because you have these people here to answer to. Good evening to each and every one of you. Good evening. Good evening. The first question, and I will tell you how we're doing this. We're choosing names to ask the questions to. Only a select number of you will be able to answer the question, because by the end of the 15th person, then you'll have the greatest answer in the world, won't you? Okay. So first and foremost, Yoshina Bradford, how are you doing this evening?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? I am doing well. Your 100-day plan. Let's say you win the election. Now what? What items and issues will you tackle during your first 100 days in office?
Oh, wow. Thank you for that question. The first 100 days, I would definitely sit with my new colleagues and make sure that we all on the same page as far as the budget. As soon as we come in, we have a new budget that we have to look over and approve. That's the first thing. Also, making sure that we have senior facilities. I'll be working on a campaign going out to the meeting the seniors to see what they need and what they would like. What services are still needed for our seniors and what services are still needed in our community. Also looking for a plan to develop a senior facility, new senior facilities in District 6. District 6 is made up of 9 cities. So we definitely need more seniors, active community and senior facilities. And then the next thing is making sure that I collaborate with the other commissioners, council members, school board, building relationships. That's going to be huge for me because I'm going to need everyone's support in order to get it all done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The next question we are going to ask of Dr. Francis-Rolle. Over the last decade, we've seen most of Fulton County communities choose to become cities, leaving portions of Fulton Industrial Boulevard as the only unincorporated area. How will you work with city leaders to develop an economic strategy that benefits the entire community?
Thank you. When you say the entire community, are you speaking in the Fulton Industrial and other surrounding areas, or just the industrial?
Other surrounding areas.
Okay, the surrounding areas. As we know, good evening everyone, I'm sorry. As we know, Fulton Industrial Boulevard right now is the only authority that Fulton County has jurisdiction over. And Fulton Industrial is a gem. It has the airport over there, and just recently, Commissioner Chairman Pitts indicated we're putting a $50 million rehab into the airport. It is very important that we meet with the South Fulton Industrial CID. That's the brainstorm, and I would say the brains of Fulton Industrial Boulevard. They have already been in existence. They have a plan. Those were the first people that I would go meet with and see what is it that they have started, what they're doing, and what we continue to do for that area and the surrounding areas as well. Fulton Industrial has been losing money to the airport. The businesses have no place to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gordon Joyner, you win the election, now what? What items and issues will you tackle during your first 100 days in office?
Thank you for that great question. And I am so happy to be here with the League and with the NAACP and with the Deltas and with the AKs and with the Zetas and everyone else. Sigma Gamma Rho. I have, from the very beginning of my campaign in May, consistently dedicated my top priority to building a multi-purpose senior citizen center in District 6, because none exists. And at my very first Board of Commissioners meeting, I will be able to draw on my 9 years of experience of having served as a Fulton County Commissioner, representing this area and representing the entire county as a countywide commissioner. I will introduce a resolution, which I've already drafted, to begin the process to plan and set aside the budget money to build a multi-purpose senior citizen center. Thank you.
Rafer Johnson, would you like to give us an idea of what your 100-day plan would be after you're elected?
Good evening, everyone. So glad to be in the House. My 100-day plan. I would have already met with all of the commissioners in their offices to understand all the issues. But beyond that, I've already started to follow everything that the commission is doing. The budget is absolutely on target. The sessions will start, and the budget gets passed in January. So that will be a critical step in that process. Getting the staff up and running is definitely key, and getting the key persons in place, utilizing some of the people that are already there in the skill sets. But one of the things that I plan on doing is filling all of the open appointments that are still open there. And the last thing that I want to do, while Gordon does want to build a senior center, I want to build a youth center because I can't find one nowhere in the district.
Thank you so much. Sojourner Grimmett. Over the last decade, we've seen most Fulton County communities choose to become cities, leaving portions of Fulton Industrial Boulevard as the only unincorporated area. How will you work with city leaders to develop an economic strategy that benefits the entire county?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Sojourner Marable Grimmett, and I'm glad to be here and to be with all of you today. I'm excited about the opportunity to serve at this level. As far as a strategy, I would work with the city of South Fulton. I would work with my commissioners on making sure that FIB, Fulton Industrial Boulevard, is taken care of. It's a 7-mile stretch. We're already focusing a lot of energy on the airport. You're going to see a lot of economic development happening there. And so I would also make sure that the residents, the 1,000+ residents, are taken care of there, as well as fire, police. And so I would fully make sure that FIB is funded properly, and also our residents there are protected.
Thank you. Yoshina Bradford. We've mentioned that Commissioner Darnell, we all know her love of seniors and her respect for the senior community. So as she was recognized as a strong advocate of serving the seniors and the citizens, what changes would you recommend on how the county serves its senior population?
I would definitely come in with some of the incentives or programs that she already has and continue to improve those, but also grow them in the communities and going from city to city to meet with the seniors in each city to see exactly, and I think I mentioned this before, what is it that they want? What is it that they need? Because a lot of times sometimes elected officials, we make decisions and don't really know what's needed. So I have to go to the seniors to see exactly what's their need, what is their want, and once we know what that is, then I can sit down with a plan and a team of people to make sure that we build our facilities for our seniors and our services to match what is needed for each city and each senior facility.
Sonia Francis-Rolle, same question to you. Commissioner Darnell was recognized as a strong advocate of serving the county's senior citizens. What changes would you recommend to how the county serves its senior population?
One of the changes that I would recommend is looking at eliminating school taxes for seniors. We have seniors that are on fixed incomes, and seniors are going to the dollar store, according to what I've heard over the radio. Seniors have to go to the dollar store to buy food because they're not able to buy food because of their fixed income. I know that it's a state mandated, and we'll have to work with the state legislators to do that, but it's not something we can't do. Cobb County, Fayette, DeKalb, and I believe Gwinnett, they are already giving their seniors a tax break. We need to do that. The other thing I would do is look at the contracts that Fulton County has with the care services, providing services for seniors. We need to do an audit on that because our seniors are not getting the care that they need with those contracts that have been given to the companies that are responsible for going out and taking care of those seniors. Having taken care of my stepdad for 13 years, I know what needs to be done. Thank you.
Rafer Johnson. The south side of Fulton County has been plagued with slower than desired emergency service response times. How would you work to improve service levels?
Absolutely. District 6 and the entire south side has been left behind in many ways. Infrastructure is definitely one of them, and the ambulance services. There's a new contract that's been put into place, and that has drastically improved the response times in District 6 and throughout South Fulton. We, however, need to monitor that and do some nationwide checking to make sure that that is satisfactory and meets national standards. We have to make sure that we do some comparisons with that. But across the board, District 6 has been left behind, and that will not continue with me as your advocate commissioner. Thank you.
Mr. Joyner. Commissioner Darnell was recognized as a strong advocate of serving the county's senior citizens. What changes would you recommend to how the county serves its senior population?
First of all, I'd like to acknowledge that Commissioner Natalie Hall on the Fulton County Board of Commissioners has joined us. Natalie, if you raise your hand so people can see you. Thank you. Again, with regards to my priority, in terms of continuing the outstanding work of Commissioner Darnell with regards to senior citizens. I had the great honor and distinction of working closely with Commissioner Darnell when I also was a Fulton County Commissioner as we planned, budgeted, built, and opened the Harriet G. Darnell Senior Citizens Multipurpose Center. District 6 does not have such a facility. There's one in East Point, there's one in downtown Atlanta, and there's one in Sandy Springs. We, in addition to building the facility, need to expand senior citizens' services for those who want to live in their own homes and to receive services there. That's our responsibility, and I'll do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Sojourner, the South Side of Fulton County has been plagued with slower than desired emergency service response times. How would you work to improve service levels?
Hi, this is Sojourner. As far as the response time, I understand that, this is one of our residents' top priority, that when they call for help arrives, and it arrives on time. So I would make sure that all of our jurisdictions, our sister cities, if you will, are working with each other, are communicating with each other openly and addressing this concern that people have. And it's a concern that I have. I've lived in South Fulton for over 17 years, and I currently live in the city of South Fulton. And so making sure, bringing people together to address this big concern. And then just to touch a little bit on not just the concern of police time, but also making sure that our police departments in various cities are working together, but also expanding community policing. I think that's really important, and for our youth to look at police as friends rather than not.
Thank you so much. Let's talk airport strategy, Yoshina. Fulton County is one of the few communities in the U.S. with 2 airports. How will you support new investment in Charlie Brown Airport to help it grow? How will you support Hartsfield-Jackson's position as a major economic engine?
Thank you for the question. And I think that's a great question. And also to know and recognize that we just had the new tax, which was the fuel tax, which has been taxed on the airport now, which more funds will be used to all of our smaller airports in the outskirts. So that's additional funds that we will have, but also building economic development, bringing those developments that are needed to the airport, that will work with the airport, and that fits for Charlie Brown Airport, as well as the international airport. And I think the international airport is doing well on its own. But to increase development in the Charlie Brown Airport, using the funds and the new taxes that we will have that will come from the larger airlines, making sure that we have incentives for business owners to develop there, and it's useful in making sure that the citizens have an opportunity also to develop there at the airport as well.
Thank you. Dr. Francis-Rolle, how will you support the new investment, any new investment in Charlie Brown Airport to help it grow? And how will you support Hartsfield-Jackson's position as a major economic engine?
Currently, Charlie Brown Airport has a revenue source of $90 million that does not come from the taxpayers. That money comes directly from revenue and taxes and services over Charlie Brown, and currently the county just initiated a new renovation project in order to expand on that. So it would be my job to go look to see and follow through and follow up with what they've already started and what they're doing. Charlie Brown should serve as an alternate, can serve as an alternate for Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, because the traffic, it can actually help relieve some of the traffic, and that's the goal. Some of the traffic with their smaller jets that are coming through Hartsfield-Jackson to relieve some of the congestion and the traffic that are going through that airport. So there needs to be a collaboration and conversations between those 2 airports in terms of development, investments, and cooperation that's going to benefit not only the airport traffic, but also the citizens out both of Fulton County.
Thank you very much. Mr. Johnson, in recent weeks, neighboring communities have raised the alarm about dangerous levels of toxic chemicals being released near residential communities. If this issue impacted Fulton County's District 6, how would you address concerns raised by residents?
Thank you. Environmental justice is huge to me. Again, where District 6 has been left behind. We have plants that are being approved and put into our district, particularly around Fulton Industrial Boulevard, There was an effort to stop one recently at Highway 92 and South Fulton Parkway, and we have to become more aware. As the Advocate Commissioner, I will absolutely make sure that I'm ahead of that in working to make sure that the types of businesses that we're putting in here, that the releases, the EPA standards, etc., are being met and kept. And we're also going to be looking at what's downwind and downstream. The Chattahoochee River runs right along District 6. And we have to make sure we protect that as the future. For me, you will always find that it's all about the kids and our future. We have to make sure we protect them, and particularly when it comes to releasing fumes and chemicals. Thank you.
Mr. Joyner, can you tell me how you will support new investment in Charlie Brown Airport and to help it grow, in addition to supporting Hartsfield-Jackson's position as a major economic engine?
I am so happy to have the opportunity to address that question. I thought we might move on to another question, but I definitely have thank you. I have a very clear-cut opinion, and I'm not sure if it's in the flow of some of the responses that you just heard. First of all, the Fulton County government has nothing to do with Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport at all. The Charlie Brown Airport, yes, it is significant in terms of the economic development of Fulton County because it is a major transportation entity within Fulton County. However, I'd say let's pump the brakes. Not so fast. For any who are not aware, right across the street from the Fulton County Charlie Brown Airport is a long-standing community. And any expansion of the airport impacts directly on that community. Thank you.
Ms. Grimmett, in recent weeks, neighboring communities have raised the alarm about dangerous levels of toxic chemicals being released near residential communities. If this issue impacted Fulton County's District 6, how would you address concerns raised by residents?
You know, District 6, people are getting sick here and they are dying from cancer. And this is real. And this is happening in our district, and it's happening more, you'll find, in the south part of Fulton County than sometimes in other parts. And so we talk about environmental racism, and that is real. And so we need to make sure that our environment is protected. And so I would do whatever I can to make sure that our environment is protected and that our land and space that we reside in is safe. We have a responsibility for smart neighborhoods and also smart development. We have a lot of green space here in South Fulton, and we need to make sure that our green space is protected. And we also have to make sure that whatever comes our way as far as economic development is something that we want. So I would be the commissioner that makes sure that the voices are heard from our constituents and that their voices are, and rather their concerns are addressed before moving forward with economic development.
Yoshina, we'd like to give you an opportunity to speak to the issue of emergency response time. Again, in south side of Fulton County, it has been plagued with the desired emergency response time being slower than anticipated. How would you work to improve those levels?
I think that's a great question, and also making sure that we increase employment, but making sure those who we hire are engaged. And I know we've had some issues with the 911 operators and assistants there, making sure our management over the employees are engaged, and we hold everyone accountable. After we have cleared that as far as the job placement and increasing job, but also job training, making sure that we continue to train those who are in our districts, and then getting with the different cities and making sure that all of the needs are met, that we have the budget. We make sure that the budget is set too, making sure that we set the right budget for the chiefs and sheriffs. So that is something that we as county commissioners do have control over. So if there is a need to increase the budget because there is a need to have more employment or more people to come in to help with those services, then we have to do that for our citizens.
Thank you. Dr. Francis-Rolle. In recent weeks, we're talking again about the neighboring communities raising the alarm about dangerous levels of toxic chemicals being released near residential communities. If this issue impacted Fulton County's District 6, how would you address concerns raised by the residents?
We have to make sure that we really should have a plan in place to make sure that we don't get to the point where we're having this type of environmental control issues. I know that we have an issue currently going on in South Fulton with a burning waste site, which has gone to court. Folks have been received fines, you name it, they've gone to jail, and that has not been resolved to this day. So it seems to me that it's very important, and I have not seen a plan yet, but that's something that needs to be worked on so that in an issue that would avoid having an issue like that. So there needs to be a plan in place and make sure that we have ordinance as is regulated or can be regulated by the county and the cities that are involved in order to address those kind of issues and avoid any type of environmental problems that would result. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, Fulton County has been plagued by election security concerns. How will you work with state and county leaders to improve election security? Do you support the strategy and approach recommended by Governor Kemp?
First, I'll join fairfight.org and make sure everyone in this room joins fairfight.org. Getting a lot of feedback. Okay, thank you. Election security needs to be tackled locally, but this is really a national problem. There is no reason that we really can't move to having cell phones and voting electronically and voting on the web. The cell phones are way more secure than these devices that we're going to vote in that can be hacked, which have been proven. Georgia Tech had a contest and they showed that they can actually hack these devices. So I'm deeply concerned about that, but this is a national problem that needs to be addressed. We need to tackle it, and I'll be frank, I have no faith in Governor Kemp, given his track record over the last few years, the amount of people he's disenfranchised and people who stood in line for 3 to 4 hours. So no, at this point, I have no faith in Governor Kemp, and I think we need to hold him accountable. Thank you.
Mr. Joyner, many residents are concerned that new residents are replacing existing homes with expensive mini mansions. As Fulton County's District 6 continues to attract new residents, how will you address gentrification concerns and protect existing residents from being driven from their communities?
Affordable housing is the key. And affordable housing results from land use and zoning decisions that are made by those who have that responsibility. I served on the Fulton County Board of Commissioners at a time when we had some direct say-so, up or down, about development proposals in Fulton County. At this time, however, because of the citifying of all of unincorporated Fulton County, except for that strip of Fulton Industrial Boulevard, the decision makers regarding the question that you have asked are not with the Fulton County Board of Commissioners. They are with the local cities. The city of South Fulton, Fairburn, Union City, Chattahoochee Hills, Palmetto, and others all over Fulton County. They now have the legal authority, and speaking from my background as a former judge for the city of Atlanta, we could not intrude into that responsibility, but we certainly can seek to influence it, and I will do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Sojourner, I'd like to ask you about election security. Again, Fulton County has been plagued by election security concerns, as have other communities nationally. How will you work with state and county leaders to improve election security? And do you support the strategy and approach recommended by Governor Kemp?
Hi, my name again is Sojourner, and mentioned earlier election security. There are a number of election security concerns, and if you all followed the Stacey Abrams-Brian Kemp race, we all know that Stacey Abrams is our true governor. But I think that we really need to take a better look at the election system. I would support something new, not something that's currently being developed or pushed by our current governor. We need to have innovative, different approach to looking at elections. So that's what I would support. I would not currently support what Brian Kemp is pushing as far as elections.
Thank you very much. Ms. Colbert Bradford, in reference to gentrification, many residents are concerned that new residents are replacing existing homes with those expensive mini mansions. As Fulton County's District 6 continues to attract new residents, how will you address gentrification concerns and protect existing residents from being driven from their communities?
I think we do this by providing choices and making sure that before we bring in affordable housing, we know what affordable housing is and what we want it to look like. And I say choices as well as our older or active adults, providing communities for them that have active adult communities, that they may have a choice. We do have some seniors who don't want to stay in their homes and do want to move and want to stay in the neighborhood, but don't have the choice to do that. Also making sure that we do educate our seniors or other active adults to let them know you do not have to sell. And if you do sell at market value versus the penny on the dollar. Again, going back to affordable housing, making sure that we work with banks like Delta Community, who has 100% financing, giving our buyers options to buy down the interest rate, NAACP, which is a great program. So it gives everyone an option. Again, we have to know what affordable housing is and what we want it to look like in our neighborhoods.
Dr. Francis-Rolle, it's your turn again. When it comes to strengths and opportunities, what are Fulton County District 6's top 3 strengths? What are 3 areas where there are opportunities to improve?
Let me say quickly the opportunities for improvement. The opportunities for improvement would be the health area. We have epidemic with AIDS in our community. Fulton County has one of the highest AIDS on record in our area. We need to improve that. We need to improve the jobs for our youth. 28,000 jobs are available on Fulton Industrial Boulevard alone. And with that, we need to provide work opportunities and training for our youth in that area. Sex trafficking, to me, is another area that we need to improve on. We are doing better, but we still have a lot of work to do because we have our youth that are being trafficked here, there, and everywhere. Our strengths is that we have a $1.2 billion budget. We're able to provide services for most of everyone in the county. We also have we need actually the third area will be providing services for seniors. Thank you.
Rafer Johnson, this actually is a question from the audience. How do you propose to support minority small businesses in District 6?
Wondering if okay, good. I'm not getting feedback this time. Thanks. Beyond District 6, the BOC and Board of Commissioners has a policy in place, but it cannot enforce it legally at this time around minority requirements for contracting with the county. However, that question is asked very often, and I plan as your commissioner to ask that question anytime any programs or spending is concerned. I will be asking that question. Any contractors that will be coming, and they love to come up to the podium at the BOC meetings, I will be asking, what is your minority makeup? what is the makeup of the residents in the area that are going to be impacted, and how we're going to do that. Beyond that, it's about developing our small businesses here in District 6. And if you follow my hashtag Fulton D6 Gems, I'm going around to many of these today and promoting them. That's how we continue to build that, make sure we bring those services here and support those businesses to grow in our area in District 6. We have a large opportunity ahead of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Joyner, what are Fulton County District 6's top 3 strengths? What are 3 areas where there are opportunities to improve?
Would you repeat that, please? Some of the feedback wiped out part of the question.
Okay, so sorry. What are Fulton County District 6's top 3 strengths?
Gotcha.
What are 3 areas where there are opportunities to improve?
Well, the top strength in District 6 is represented by the people in this room. The people of District 6 are the top asset for this community. It is such an exciting opportunity. You have this mix of the newest city in the state of Georgia, in the city of South Fulton, and some of the older communities in Fulton County and the state of Georgia. The people of District 6 represent a true mix of talents and backgrounds, geographical, in terms of their work and everything else. In terms of the improvement that I think can be made regarding the people in District 6, let me just quickly say the other 2 strengths are the opportunity for economic development and the opportunity for stronger senior citizens services in District 6. But the way that the people of District 6 can make an improvement is holding your elected officials more accountable so that they will be more responsive directly to you. And the front end is picking the very best people to be in elective office. Thank you.
Thank you. Sojourner, how do you propose to support minority small businesses in District 6?
Hi, my name is Sojourner again. I would propose that we have a panel, if you will. I would have a small focus group that addresses this very issue, and I would meet with them to hear their concerns. And then I am a communicator and also a collaborator. I would make sure that after hearing their concerns, I would address those concerns. I served as the Director of Constituent Services for Fulton County, former chairman, and I heard a lot of concerns from constituents, and I was able to address their concerns and answer their questions. And so that's what I would do first off. I would bring a group together, or I would hold a forum such as this to hear from small minority business owners, to hear their concerns and to address them.
Thank you. Yoshina Bradford. What are Fulton County District 6's top 3 strengths? What are 3 areas where there are opportunities to improve?
Okay, I think for our top 3 strengths, we do a great job of collecting taxes. We do have a lot of land that can be developed, and we bring a lot of warehouses to District 6. So I think we can improve our judicial system. I think we can improve on minimizing the warehouses that we continue to have in District 6. And we can also improve on mental health awareness. So making sure that we, in mental health, that we address those issues, because we do have a lot of inmates who are locked up who have mental health issues that should be released, but how do we release them and help them be self-sustainable? And I think in the environmental safety, we can increase our environmental safety by reducing our carbon footprint and making sure we increase our recycling opportunities and limiting the warehouses that are coming to District 6. So those would be my 3 areas in which I would touch on to continue, and those are the 3 areas I think we do quite well in.
Thank you. Dr. Francis-Rolle, how will you strengthen the youth programming in District 6?
The youth programs need to be strengthened by providing, first of all, foremost, mentors. We have to have mentors in order to make sure that our youth have access to folks that are already in positions and jobs so that they're feeling good about themselves. That's the first part. Improving, another area of improvement is currently I sit on the Airtropolis Education Committee collective. And what we're doing in another week or so, we are providing a business youth partnership. We are aligning the high school juniors and seniors with the businesses so that they can partner and get internships so that they have a track that they can go work with those companies. With the Chamber of Commerce, we're also doing the same thing. I sit on the Chamber of Commerce Education Collective. Right now what we're doing is providing the students at Clayton County and Fulton County high schools. We're partnering again with those businesses because we feel that the businesses are missing out in our community. And with that, we're able to give the children a pathway so that they know what areas they're going to go to graduate and work in. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson, how would you ensure that there would be no favoritism in awarding county contracts?
Ensuring that there's no favoritism in awarding contracts, that would be that when the contracts come up for review at the BOC and get approved, I would be asking the questions. And for those who you know me, I am a very detailed person. I like to dig into the facts and make sure that I have the facts to make a decision. I will be asking those questions before we get to the BOC meetings with the department heads. How was this done? How did you get to this decision? For example, there was just a decision made around healthcare and vendors, and it happened to be where one vendor simply was left in the process. And I heard several of the commissioners ask that same question. That's how we tackle it, making sure that there's an accountability. Last BOC meeting, there were several commissioners that raised the issue of the lack of preparedness with things that were brought up. And I hope to see that change. I heard the commissioners ask for that to change, and I hope to be the next commissioner to also ask for that to be changed. But we do have a very strong operation in place. It's just guiding it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Joyner, again, these are questions from the audience. What new ideas do you have to grow Fulton County, District 6?
We almost don't have a choice because we are living in a brand new world with regards to the Fulton County government. So many areas where we predominated in the past, countywide, such as police department, public safety. That area right now predominantly is taken over by the municipalities. But we do have a role to play, and that is a role in terms of utilizing our experience, our databases, all of the expertise that exists through the decades in the Fulton County Police Department in bringing to the forefront with the newer police departments and all the police departments a sharing of all of this expertise and chiming in and collaborating and cooperating with them in their enforcement of public safety, which is another one of my top responsibilities. I guess I'm going to seize this opportunity to say I'm finished since the stop sign just came up. Will we get a chance to introduce ourselves a little bit at some point?
Yes, you will.
Closing remarks.
Yes, you will.
Okay, thank you.
And this is a final question from the audience, and we'll just let each of you quickly answer. And then so we'll begin with Ms. Grimmett. This is a nonpartisan race. However, party affiliation plays a significant role in getting 4 votes on the Board of Commissioners. What is your party affiliation? Democrat or Republican? How will you get the 3 additional votes that you need to approve what the community needs?
Thank you for that question. My name, again, is Sojourner. I had the pleasure of serving constituents for 4.5 years, working as the Director of Constituent Services for Fulton County. And so I am a proud Democrat. I am an Obama Democrat. I've worked on Obama's campaigns. I worked on Stacey Abrams' campaigns. I've been behind Democrats my entire life. Okay? But I'm also a good collaborator. I can work across party lines, and I did so when I worked at Fulton County government. People in the north, commissioners in the north, and commissioners on the south side utilized me to help with various events and to assist them. And so I'm able to work across party lines.
Yoshina, just to reiterate the question, what Democratic party, what party are you a member of, and how will you get the 3 additional votes that you'll need to approve what the community needs?
I am a strong Democrat. Not to say that, Republicans are wrong, but I'm a strong Democrat. But to make sure that I get the additional 3 votes is using my skill set that I have in a business as an entrepreneur and in real estate. You have to build relationships, making sure that you're able to collaborate and making sure that you're able to work with other people, but also bringing the information and doing the research that's needed to bring home the plan that is needed to grab the votes that I need to get the job done. I'm all about making sure that we have solutions and not continuing to focus on the issues. So building those relationships and making sure that I have the research and the backing that I need, and also bringing that information to them so they'll see from my perspective what's needed so I can get it done.
Thank you. Dr. Francis-Rolle, this is a nonpartisan race. However, party affiliation plays a significant role in getting 4 votes on the Board of Commissioners. What is your party affiliation, Democrat or Republican? How will you get the 3 additional votes that you need to approve what your community needs?
I'm a strong conservative and believe that partisan is important in terms of making decisions for the people that's in our community. We have a real problem with partisan Democrats and Republicans, and that is the reason why we are having issues in getting things solved. I believe that we should take our tax dollars and we should be able to take our tax dollars and spend our money comfortably so that our citizens are getting what they deserve. As I said, I'm a conservative. I'm a member of the Georgia Republican Party. I like that party because I'm able to get things done. I will work with the other 3 commissioners. I have friends on the Democratic Party. I work with Donzella James, Sharon Beasley Teague, Deborah Bazemore, and the list goes on. I have been very, very active in my community, and we need to be able to talk to folks across the board. We should never be looking at partisan to make decisions for our citizens when we need to get the work done. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, what is your party affiliation? How will you work to get the additional 3 votes needed to get what your community needs?
I'm a die-hard Democrat. Absolutely, and I've voted lifelong Democrat. I am blessed to have received support from Stacey Abrams in this campaign, and many other, Chairman Eves has endorsed me, and many others, and as we go forward. However, I also have a track record. This is where my business skill set comes in. I have 34 years of successful business, government, and nonprofit community leadership. The skill sets to manage Fortune 500 business partners and to negotiate with the governments, that's where my skill set comes in. So I can work with everyone. And people do business with people they like. And it's critical that you be able to work with all parties, Democrat, Independents, Republican, and nons, because there's a whole lot of people now that don't want any part of any of those. So I will be working with everyone, but I do believe that fundamentally the Democratic Party is the way to save this country from the hole that we're in today. And that's another important part. We're going into recession, and I'll talk more about that later. Thanks.
Mr. Joyner. This is a nonpartisan race. However, party's affiliation plays a significant role in getting the 4 votes. What's your party affiliation, Democrat or Republican? How will you get the 3 additional votes that you need to approve what your community needs?
I'd like to ask League member Darlene Little to please stand up. Darlene, stand up. Darlene is a member of the League of Women Voters, has known me my entire life. We grew up together in Fort Valley, Georgia. We led as students the civil rights movement in Fort Valley, Georgia. Darlene is the witness that I am a lifelong, strong Democrat. I was appointed by President Carter as a member of his administration as Deputy Assistant Secretary of Civil Rights at the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development in Washington, D.C. I was elected 4 times to the Fulton County Board of Commissioners as a Democrat. But I work with Republicans because every single major initiative that I led through the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, every single one, from making Fulton County the first local community to have its own civil rights law, to the Fulton County Commission budget resolution, and on. Every single one of them was by unanimous vote of the Board of Commissioners. Thank you.
I just want to take a moment as president of the League of Women Voters to reiterate that we are nonpartisan and we do not support or endorse any candidate. So, you know, our members are free to do what they wish, but I have to reiterate that as an organization, as a former candidate who ran for office, we are committed to ensuring that each and every candidate have a fair opportunity to present their views. We are nonpartisan. We do not support or endorse any political party or any candidate. Thank you.
Sojourner, what would you do to increase economic development in South Fulton County? What 2 or 3 ideas for economic development will you support?
Thank you for that question. My name, again, is Sojourner. I am passionate about South Fulton. I've lived here for over 17 years, and economic development is extremely important for us. Folks see cranes everywhere north of 20. You see cranes in Midtown, you see cranes in Buckhead, and we need to see more cranes down here on the south side. But we need to make sure that whatever's folks are bringing to the south side is what we want. Right? So our folks, we need to have a voice at the table. And so what I would do is work with the various cities to make sure that those voices are heard on what they want as far as economic development in order to boost jobs. Mentioned earlier, we need to collaborate with our elected officials in the various cities. There are 9 in South Fulton to make sure that we don't have any more warehouses, that liquor stores aren't popping up all over the place, that what our residents want is what exactly happens. And as a collaborator and communicator, I will make sure I will work with elected officials to see that done.
Thank you. We'd like to say to the audience this evening, if you did not hear a particular question asked to a particular person, don't be shy. Walk up to them afterwards and get their viewpoints, okay? Very important election. Yoshina Bradford. How many times have you offered yourself for public office? What were they and why this one?
I've never offered myself for public office. I never wanted to be about politics. I've always been about the people. So I am what you would consider for the church people, I am a valley worker. I don't have to be in the spotlight. I love to come in and do my service and know what is provided. I work in my community hand in hand with my churches and all of my ministries. I have chosen to be a part of this race because I am a native of Atlanta. I am a native of District 6. I was raised here and I continue to live here. And I am tired of not seeing the changes in District 6. I am tired of going to other neighborhoods in North Fulton to see the changes in the growth that they have there. Why we pay our taxes here, why do we not have the funds in the budget to allocate for what we need and want in our cities? And I think we need to be more pedestrian friendly, have more family friendly communities, and be economically developed as well as environmentally safe at the same time. So I'm here running for the people, not politics.
Thank you. Dr. Francis-Rolle, there will only be one winner. If indeed you do lose the seat, what will you do to help continue to move District 6 forward?
Okay, I guess I'm so anxious to answer that question. If I don't have enough time to share with you what I have been doing in this area as it is, and the list goes on and on and on. If you go look at my website, my husband and I have been very involved in the South Fulton area the last 13 years that we came here. We came here, I jumped in order to know what was going on in the county, we pretty much participated in everything that Fulton County offered. We participated in Fulton Citizens University, Police Academy, Sheriff Academy, Court Watch, and we did that because we care about our community and wanted to be involved. We have a Girls in Aviation program over at Charlie Brown Airport. We have 300 to 500 girls that we work with a year, each year. We've just got a young lady that just got accepted by NASA to do an internship. We just have another one that got aviation scholarship for a pilot license. We have been working and we will continue to work as we have been. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, how will you move to ensure that all the actions of officials are honest and ethical, avoiding self-serving and self-dealing actions?
Boy, I wish I had a magic wand to do that one. I really wish we need to, as an electorate, really need to try to have some sort of transparency mechanism. And one of the things that I like, one of the residents asked me, would I be willing to release my taxes? I would like to see a public financial report, including taxes of all elected officials. It is amazing to me that we see elected, and I think McConnell's net worth was something around $32 million. So he's been in Congress for all these years, and now all of a sudden he's worth $30-something million. I would really like to see that happen on a local level, where every elected official has to release a full financial report, including all interest in any businesses that they have.
Mr. Joyner, what are your thoughts on the annexation of Fulton County neighborhoods by City of Atlanta and the reversal by the courts?
What's the last part?
And the reversal by the courts.
Very quickly, I am absolutely against annexation by the City of Atlanta of any Fulton County land. Fulton Industrial Boulevard, that great economic engine at this point, needs to go to the City of South Fulton. If I have some time left, I would like to respond to the question, if I could, with my time left, may I say a word about the previous question about ethics in government? It's not hard, folks. Don't let anyone convince you that it is difficult. They say in our community that we don't use words like ethics and accountability and transparency and honesty. I use those words. And if you look at my public record, you will see that I have advocated in my campaign handout, which I think all of you have received. Please take a look at the #1 piece in my platform. It simply says, I will meet with anybody and everybody as a Fulton County Commissioner in my office. There's only one rule. The door stays open. Thank you.
In that we gave Mr. Joyner that opportunity, would anyone else like to answer the question, how will you move to ensure that all the actions of officials are honest and ethical, avoiding self-serving and self-dealing actions?
I mean, to be short with time, transparency is one, and accountability. At the end of the day, and I agree, if you're here to make money, you can't make money in politics at the end of the day. Look at the salary. And they say you work part-time, but it's a full-time job because you're serving for the people. And you need to make sure it's not the actions, it's the motive behind the people. Why are they here? So many elected officials are self-serving. Again, we have to serve for the people and know why we're in the seat and what we're doing it for. I'm not here to make a paycheck. I'm here to do a job. And I agree. There are plenty of opportunities for people to be entrepreneurs and make business transactions and all do it with ethics. We can all do that, and we can do it together.
Honesty, accountability, transparency, efficiency. That's my slogan. That is a problem. That's a problem across the board in politics, Fulton County, everywhere. I think my thinking is that the citizens are the ones that have to call out the politicians when they see something going on. The problem is that we have a group here that's connected to this group of folks. We have another group here that's connected to those group of folks. So when you have the groups connected to that one politician, the problem is that they block you and you can't say anything. You have to call them out. A lot of people don't like me or may not like my stance because I am one of those citizens that talk. And when people see me, they go in the other direction because I'm going to call you out. That's what you have to do as a citizen. You can't run and hide. And guess what? They also intimidate you. If you see a politician doing something wrong, they would try to intimidate. I've had that experience where I was told, do you know that that's so-and-so, that's a politician? No, I don't care. I voted him in, and I can say what I have to say. Thank you.
Hi, this is Sojourner. I agree with what everyone said regarding ethical leadership. I would also, something that has come up at various forums, I would also encourage all of you, and I'm sure all of you have already done this, but to Google all of us. Google our first and last name and see what comes up. And you will see ethical leadership, and you will see leadership that is unethical. There are 9 of us running. There are some of us who are unethical. So please Google all of us. Sincere thanks for coming this evening.
Everyone, you will now be allowed 2 minutes for closing statements, and we will begin with you, Yoshina Bradford.
Thank you. Yoshina Bradford. I am a native of District 6. My early childhood began in College Park, reared in Loch Lomond Estates, where I attended Ben Hill Preschool, later graduated from Benjamin Elijah Mays High School, and I attended my education at Atlanta Metropolitan College, where I earned a degree in chemistry. As an entrepreneur and the owner of a real estate firm located in District 6, as your commissioner, I will make sure that I focus on safety, seniors, and stability. Safety, working with our judicial system, which is our courts and jails, collaborating with our chief, making sure that we have the budget. Our seniors, making sure that we build new facilities, but the facilities that we already have, improve them. But again, we have to talk with the citizens. I will be engaged with our community, making sure that I know what you want, what you need, and what will be required. And lastly, stability. Making sure that we can do stability with working with the school system, our environmentally safe, and economic development. But in order to have economic development for me, we have to make sure that our neighborhoods are going to be pedestrian friendly, family friendly, and we do have the live, work, and play for those who would like it. But what do we want that to look like? Again, for all of the concerns and plans that I have to be engaged with our community. What do the people want? What do you want to see? How do you want it to look? You may not want condos, but you may still want the live, work, play feel. So Yoshina Bradford, I am a new leader with a new vision, moving District 6 in a new direction. You can go to my website, YoshinaColbertBradford.com, for more information. I did not come here, I am from here. Thank you.
I'm Dr. Sonia Francis-Rolle. My website is SoniaFrancis-Rolle.com. Sojourner told you all to go Google, so I'm giving it to you. If you don't have my card, make sure you please go Google. Honesty, efficiency, accountability, and transparency. I chose those because I've been around South Fulton now for the past 13 years. I moved to Georgia 21 years ago by way of being born in Barbados and raised up and grew up in Massachusetts. Came to Georgia. I've always been a public servant. I've been an educator, a teacher, you name it, from the state, the classroom. My husband, Dr. Gordon Joyner, currently is a teacher. So we're educators, we're public servants. Why am I running? I'm running because Emma Darnell's office became my friend. I took care of my stepdad for the past 13 years, and her office became my friend because I had challenges taking care of a senior in Fulton County. So I had to call her office. I complained. There were good things and there were bad things. So when my stepdad died on April 5th, Emma Darnell died on May 5th, my husband said to me, why don't you run so that you can continue to advocate for seniors? And I said, why would I want to do that? And he said, you need to, because Emma Darnell was a woman that was passionate about citizens and taking care of kids. She also invited me to join the Youth and Children's Services Task Force that she created. I became a member of that. She supported my Girls in Aviation program at Charlie Brown Airport, and that was wonderful. One last quick thing. Fulton County had 4 seats for the time I've been in Fulton County. And I have been hearing complaints about what the north side of town is or is not doing. You had 4 seats to vote. No one else is responsible for what is not going on in South Fulton but those 4 votes. So therefore, since no one else is able to do it, then I decided I might as well jump in and maybe I can help move the role to the next level because somehow those 4 votes weren't able to get anything done. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening once again, and thank you for spending your evening with us. This year, November 5th, I turned 53 years old. This position gets sworn in on November 6th. With that 53 years of life experience added to 34 years of successful business, community leadership, and government experience, I'm offering myself on the ballot and asking you to choose me as your next commissioner for District 6. We have a big opportunity ahead of us. My focus areas are quality of life, which includes the seniors, but again I ask the question, where's the nearest youth center? Our average age in this district is 35. And with our kids coming up, we can't complain about slighter crimes if we're not engaging them in an active and successful way. For our seniors, they're the fastest growing group on the internet. So we have to apply technology to engage them as well. My second focus area is infrastructure. We've got to tackle the traffic and the issues that we have about them, but I'd like to work on bringing jobs here, which is the third area, which is economic development, bringing jobs here and services right here to District 6 so that our parents don't have to drive out of town for 2 hours to get to work and then worry about getting home and their kids at home alone. We have a big opportunity ahead of us. You're hiring for the future, and I ask you, I agree, Google us, I've been saying that for several forums, Google us. I'm not under any investigations. There are no ethic charges against me, and I encourage you to investigate every single one of the candidates as we go forward. I'm visionary leader, experienced, ready on day one. And again, we have challenging times with us. They're predicting a global recession, and I have the experience working at corporations in dealing with that. So choose wisely, Rafer Johnson.us. Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much for coming out this evening. I and we sincerely appreciate it very much, your time and consideration. Again, my name is Sojourner Marable Grimmett, and folks sometimes say the truth. I am passionate about people and service, and for over 20 years I've been a community organizer and advocate here in Fulton County. I went to undergrad at Clark Atlanta University. I see someone waving, CAU. And I went off to grad school at Penn State University. So for over 20 years, I've been a community advocate here, organizing, working behind the scenes with elected officials for a very long time with a number of Democrats. I currently work in affordable senior housing. I was hoping that the senior and the youth questions would be coming my way because that is my sweet spot, and my colleagues up here know that as well. I have the pleasure of working for an organization called National Church residences in which we serve 1,200 seniors every day in Metro Atlanta. So seniors are my sweet spot. Prior to working in senior services, I worked for Fulton County government as the director of constituent services, in which I supported folks in the county. I want to address a number of things as commissioner. Advocate for expanding senior services, support youth. We need a Department of Children and Youth Services. We need to revamp that department, and we need to add more funding to protect our kids. I'm raising 2 young boys here in South Fulton. We need to protect our youth. We need to promote safety in criminal justice. We need to boost jobs. We have a lot of work to do, but I believe I can do that work with your support and with your help. We can move South Fulton together forward. I'm passionate about this community. I will live and die in this community, and so I care about it very much. We want this place to be a place where we can live, work, and play, right? We want to have all of our services provided for us here. So for more information about me, Sojourner Marable Grimmett, please go to electsojourner.com. Thank you.
Thank you. My dear friends, we should be so happy tonight. We should all be smiling tonight, because today is the first day of early voting. You are the decision makers. You have literally in your hands the ability to impact on the enhancement of the quality of life in your community. It was such an exciting joy for me to greet voters arriving at the polling place this morning. It put such excitement in my heart and in my spirit when those arriving to vote came and said hello to me with a smile, with a thumbs up, with "I'm happy to see you, I can't wait to vote for you." We want to put your experience to work for us again. On that point, there are a couple of people in the audience I want to acknowledge. I'm putting that experience to work again. My dear friend, leader, and mentor, Reverend Dr. Walter Kimbrough. Walter, please raise your hand. Who thought he had retired from the pulpit until the United Methodist Church brought him back to Cliftondale United Methodist Church. They brought him back because of his experience, his preparation, and his background. If Virginia W. Harris would please raise your hand. Folks, you have with you this evening the national president of 100 Black women here at the League of Women Voters Forum. Carlise, I have to say it, they know your position here. Carlise is the executive director of the Georgia Chief Justice of the Supreme Court Commission on Professionalism, and does such an outstanding job in that capacity. I am going to close with this. I'm not going to talk about being a double major, double minor, summa, salutatorian graduate of Morehouse College. I'm not going to talk about being a graduate, not just an attendee of Harvard Law School and what I did there. I am going to read to you just a quote from the book of Coretta Scott King. And she just said, to Gordon Joyner.
Sir, you're going past the time allowed.
I'll tell you afterwards. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Good evening. My name is Yoshina Little, and I serve as the president of Delta Sigma Theta, Atlanta Suburban Alumnae Chapter. What an engaging forum this evening. I've attended a number of the District 6 forums, and I can say that I learned a little bit more about each candidate each time. And most of the ones I've been the timekeeper. So it's good to be on the other side, not telling you all to stop talking. So that's been good. And so we just want to take this opportunity to, one, thank our wonderful moderators, Maria Boynton. We want to thank the City of South Fulton Observer for streaming this for us today. We also would like to thank the Renaissance Church of God in Christ for opening up their doors for us to have this forum in here today. founding in 1913, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated has been committed to social action. While nonpartisan, we encourage political awareness and involvement, encouraging all citizens to be engaged in their communities. It's that civic engagement and involvement that leads us to sponsor forums and similar events and work with partners like the League of Women Voters and the NAACP. To the candidates, we know the road to elected office is long and hard. Please know that we thank you for making yourselves available for service. As I close, I'd like to thank everyone for choosing to be engaged, choosing to be involved, and choosing to make a difference with your votes. Again, thank you, get home safely, and have a wonderful week.